What is up, you guys? My name is First1. Welcome to my Furry Protogen 2. I've had this game for a while, actually, and I keep forgetting about it. And then I saw a comment on one of my last videos asking me to play it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that. I've got that in the fire. I just haven't had a chance. Actually, I just hadn't done it yet because I've been playing so much other stuff. Also, I've been kind of addicted to Zenless Zone Zero, so I've been playing a lot of that in my off time. Is there audio in the game? Because my name is, well, obviously my name is Blix. Jesus! Yep, there's the audio. Okay, I remember now. Outside the window, the morning sun shone warmly, its gentle rays just rising above the horizon. It slowly climbed above the treetops, casting beams through the clean windows onto the kitchen table. I blinked, surprised that I had been staring at the sun for so long without tiring my eyes. But that didn't matter because my chest was filled with feelings so familiar and dear to me, a comforting sense of peace. The aroma of freshly cooked bread drifted from the stove, accompanied by a quiet sound of boiling water. Stop yawning, you'll miss breakfast. I turned to my mom with a smile on my face, feeling unexpectedly happy to see her at the moment. My heart stopped a little, as if we were reuniting after a long separation, yet I didn't understand why. I wasn't going anywhere. I was here next to her, next to Dad, just as usual. Mom smiled at me with her usual warmth, sitting down next to me at the table, carefully placing the plate in front of me. "What's on your mind, honey?" I turned to the voice. My dad was sitting to my left across from my mom. I felt so happy to see them both that my chest tightened involuntarily. Makes a little sense. I didn't know the reason, but I was still enjoying these moments. I shook my head at Dad's question. Nothing, Dad. It's just... He's probably thinking about the girl he's going to marry. Isn't that right, honey? My face blushed slightly and I looked away. Mom and Dad looked at me as if they knew everything, as if they didn't need my answer. "It's a normal thing, Blitz. I know she's always on your mind. You're young, there's nothing strange about that. It happened to me too when I met your mom. I couldn't think of anything else but her." Mom blushed and responded in a calm voice. "Stop that and eat your breakfast." "Come on, honey. Nothing has changed since then." My father reached out and placed his palm on my mother's cheek, squeezing it gently. I looked at them with a smile, as if trying to absorb this scene, to memorize every detail. At that moment, I felt at home in a cozy, familiar environment, but something in my chest was still bothering me, as if I needed to leave. But I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay here and tell my parents more about Juno, to finally introduce them to her. Juno appeared in my thoughts suddenly, as if someone had pulled a lever inside my head and activated a part of my memory. I wanted to tell my parents so many things about her and how much I loved her, but how happy we were together. I knew that they would be proud of me, that they would be happy with my choice, and it made my chest feel even warmer. Then why hadn't I brought Juno home? Why hadn't I introduced her to my parents yet? Sure I did. She's the best. I'm so lucky to have met her. Of course you are. Yeah, honey, it's very noticeable. The way you glow when you think about her makes it hard not to notice. Are you guys doing okay? I nodded, digging into my porridge with my spoon. Yeah, I'm thinking about proposing to her. Mom clapped her hands together. That's so wonderful. "You're doing great, son. Don't be afraid of anything. Mom and I support you and will always be there for you." "Yeah, I'm starting to think that you're not gonna. I think this is all a dream. I'm sure Juno will be glad and agree right away." "Have you told her yet?" I shrugged. It's just hasn't come up yet, I want it to work out perfectly. I'd hate for it to feel like it was just a passing thought. Mom pressed her lips together, looking at me with undisguised tenderness, and placed a soft palm on my shoulder. "That's so sweet." You're so grown up now, Blitz. I wish your dad and I could have seen your engagement. She didn't finish, sighing heavily. I looked up, feeling a pinched sense of longing and loss slowly growing in my chest. I didn't want to leave it all, so why did I feel like I had to? Like I had no other choice? Because you kind of didn't. Well, of course you will. I'll be sure to. A persistent knock on the door kept me from finishing. I frowned and looked at the front door. The anxiety in my chest grew stronger, knotted my stomach into a tight knot, and I felt like I didn't want to open that door at all. I didn't want to get up from the table. I didn't want to see who was there. Somewhere in the back of my subconscious, I scrambled to understand what was happening, but I persistently pushed it back into the darkness. My heart beat faster and my palms were sweaty in the sudden fear that settled in my body. Why couldn't everything stay the way it was a second ago? With the coziness, the warmth, the pinched love in my chest? Why did everything have to be this way? Mom and Dad looked at me like I've already left, like there was no turning back. Mom took her hand off my shoulder and I rose from my seat heading toward the door. The wooden door seemed to stare back at me. My heart thundered in my chest with each step, and I went forward, raised my hand, and slowly opened the door. The sight that came before me instantly made my eyes water and my face pale. The place I had considered home all my life, my native village, the familiar streets, the little houses and with wooden fences. Everything was in ruins. Everything was destroyed, all consumed by crimson fire, and the smell of rot, soot, and death hit my nose. I felt foggy and my eyes burst with tears. I saw several bodies lying in the mud, and somewhere in the distance, faintly, drowned out by the chaos and destruction around me, I heard screams and pleas for help, but there was no one to help. There wasn't even a single living thing in my field of vision, only corpses, remains, ruins, and the flames that had taken them. Ooh, that's weird. I turned, wanting to see my parents, wanting to grab them and run away, but the dining table was empty. There was no trace of the comfort of our little house. Everything was on the floor like a tornado. Windows broken, table overturned. I could feel hot tears streaming down my face, panic squeezing my throat. Not again! Not this again! I walked forward across the dirty floor towards the bedroom. Step by step, I approached the bedroom. My hand was on the doorknob, but I was terrified to open it, too scared to see what was on that bed. Because I remembered, I knew what I was going to see, and I didn't want to see it again. Helplessness, fear, grief, all those feelings have actively corroded the love, comfort, and tenderness I felt just a few minutes ago. That's a voice, a familiar native voice, came through the throbbing in my ears. It was Juno, but I couldn't turn to see her, to hide in her warm embrace, to find comfort or support. I froze at the door, clutching the doorknob with my hand. Mom was lying there, in that bed, alone, dying. Blitz, don't do this. Don't go in there. I squeezed my eyes shut. Her voice echoed in my ears, but in that moment, it was as if I fell into darkness, floating through space, watching the explosion. The planet that had once been my home was completely obliterated in front of my eyes. Blitz, wake up. Suddenly I opened my eyes and found myself staring at the ceiling of my sleeping compartment. My body was tense and rigid, my chest heaving rapidly as I struggled to breathe. My heart was pounding so fast in my chest that I could hardly think. Blitz, are you awake? Mechanical, polite voice coming through the noise of my pulse in my ears made me finally come to my senses. It's fine, I'm awake. Oh, sweet Jesus. I couldn't say the words easily. My throat was sore and my voice sounded so husky that I wasn't even sure if Pixie heard me. Your heart rate is off the charts. Are you sure you're okay? Should I call Juno? I immediately shook my head. No need for that. I just had a bad dream. In the long months I had spent on the ship, I had gotten used to the fact that Pixie was kind of an invisible spirit. Someone who was always around, who could see and hear me, talk to me, but who couldn't be touched, shook hands with, or felt. But I didn't need to. Pixie had already become a good friend to me. Even if I couldn't quite understand how it functioned, and I still couldn't decide which pronouns to use when mentioning. Oh, I still couldn't know which pronouns to use with Pixie. It accepted any pronouns, but depending on the voice it used, I sometimes referred to it as he or she when it used a male or female voice, respectively. But Juno said it's okay to call Pixie however I want because it didn't have any gender preferences. So basically, Pixie is... What's the word? Sorry, I'm all over the place with that kind of stuff because, you know, I grew up differently. I understand it and I respect it. You know, if someone used different pronouns, I'm going to look at them funny and say, okay, sure. Whatever floats your boat there, buddy. I'll use more like gender neutral things like dude or buddy and stuff like that because that could be either or nowadays. Juno also tried to explain to me what an artificial intelligence was, but I never fully understood it. So I thought of Pixie as a ghost who was always around us when we were on the ship. I lay back on bed, feeling my heartbeat gradually return to normal. The dream didn't go away. I struggled to think of anything but the nightmare. Its events burned into my mind. When I lived with them, I had only felt longing for change when I sat with them at the breakfast table. I felt I had to run away to change something to find another way. I've been so dissatisfied with my life. But now, as I remember the past and see it in my dreams, I recall only peace and comfort. I am in awe of how ignorant I was about what would happen to me later. My home planet was now a wreck drifting through an endless space. Juno told me that after many unknown years, those pieces could form something new. They could become part of a new planet that I would know nothing about. This world, which Juno called Universe, was such a mysterious place, and I still knew nothing about it. It gave me some hope, even though I realized that I would never have that planet, my home again. It was a chilling thought to realize that I was the last one of my species, the only inhabitant of my planet who had miraculously survived. Except for Juno, I was the only one who knew that the planet looked and felt like. Memories of those I knew, those I loved, those I grew up with. Our language, our myths, Lit, Heavenly Mother, all that remained only in my head. And the burden was not an easy one. No matter how hard I tried to pretend everything was fine, if it wasn't for Juno, I probably would have already gone completely insane. She made many attempts to help me with my trauma, to get me talking, but I couldn't put it all on her shoulders either. I sighed and stared at the ceiling again, beyond which was nothing but endless, unfathomable space. I did my best to brush those thoughts away and got out of bed. Pixie, where's Juno now? She's training right now. I told her you were awake, so she's already waiting for you. Thanks. Glad to be of service. I headed toward the shower stall and took a quick shower before changing and heading to the gym. My body was still a little tired from waking up. Know that feeling all too well. As if I hadn't slept at all. Again, know that feeling all too well. More minutes of procrastination. Yeah. I had to work to reach my best form. The motivation that kept me from fading was my thirst for revenge. Revenge! I was willing to do anything to find the bastard who had destroyed my planet and reduce it to nothing but cosmic dust to finally get my revenge. And for that, it required teamwork. Yo, Juno! I walked in the gym. Juno was already there waiting for me. Girl, you fine. She looked hot from her workout. Oh, she just looked hot in general. Aw. Good morning, Blitz. Ready for a workout? Oh, you can work me out anytime, Juno. I hardly managed to smile. Yeah, as you can see. Have you had breakfast? It's not wise to exercise on an empty stomach. That is very true. It's even worse to train on a full stomach. I always feel like I'm going to throw up. You sure? You can divide your breakfast into 2 parts so that... Don't worry, I'm fine. Let's just get started, okay? Juno only pressed her lips together, not wanting to argue with me. I said it calmly, but I still felt bad, as if I'd insulted her. Oh, look at that screen! You made her tear, dude, you jackass. The concern in Juno's voice made me shiver a little every time. Surely it was nice that she was thinking about my condition, but it was irrelevant right now. I was alive and well, not in any danger, so why did she care about me when there were more important things to worry about? Because she loves you, you fucking moron. It's just made me uncomfortable. I'd been the one who'd been constantly taken care of for so much time, and it made me feel weak and helpless. I didn't like it at all. I felt I had to do everything in my power to achieve my goal at any cost. To do this, I need to get strong, to train constantly, to do something. Every minute of procrastination or rest made me feel anxious, as if I were just wasting time. Again, I know all that feelings. Juno reproached me about it now and then, but we never talked about it directly, and I was not in a hurry to bring it up either. Okay, let's start with a warm-up, and then we'll move on to practice. You learned the technique I showed you last time, so today we can repeat it, and then start with something new. I love the face screen; it's so adorable. What do you say? Sure, let's get started. Duh. Juno smiled and hurried to comply with my request. The warm-up was mostly silent. I was trying to get it over with as quickly as possible so I can get into the most important part, my combat training. Dude, you shouldn't skip warming up. That's what helps relax your muscles to where you don't strain something. I haven't trained in so fucking long, and but I remember that. Believe it or not, I used to not have a double chin and be a big fat ass that played video games all the time. I was in pretty good shape. Used to be. Past tense. And family issues all happened and stuff like that, so I decided to start eating more and playing video games and sitting on my ass. Next thing you know, I blew it out like a blimp and stopped growing upwards. I'm just stuck at a average height. And stuff like that. So, there you go. It was all I could think about since I'd been on Juno's ship and recovered from the virus. Even though the infection stopped thanks to Juno, I still felt weak and helpless for a long time after the illness. It took me a while to finally recover and get my body back to the strength it needed. Juno watched over me, checking on me almost every day, worrying that the virus would return, but I felt I had survived for a reason. I was tired of feeling helpless, unable to protect not only my loved ones and my people, but also myself. So I almost immediately asked Juno to teach me everything she knew. First we started with some theory, and then we moved on to practice. Juno was always careful with me, afraid of hurting me, and it made me a little angry. Dude, she's built like a brick shithouse. And you're a weak, pathetic humo. She's Proto. How do you do the I'm gonna save real quick before I forget. How do you do the thing where you... man, I don't remember. That just does all that. There it is. Now let's get dialogue. H hides interface. Look at that. Look at those thighs. I know I might not have been saying much about Rail in quite a while, but as he used to say, to die by thigh is the way of the warrior. So, you know, that's the wrong button. Even now, she still wasn't using her full power and its full potential. I could feel it. And despite my efforts to provoke her, she always holds back. But of course, compared to 6 months ago, I had made some significant progress, although I couldn't beat Juno yet. And again, she's holding back and you can't beat her. Why do you want her to go all out? You just get your ass whooped in 5 seconds. And I wasn't exactly equal to her in strength. She wasn't winning as fast as before. It was inspiring and frustrating at the same time. I wanted to be a warrior right away. Blink of an eye, but I couldn't do it. No matter how hard I tried. Ugh. How long had Damien worked with me on my fighting skills? Only for it to do no good. Well, you kind of blew him off a lot. As soon as that thought formed in my head, I felt a rush of burning anger at myself, at my body, and at what happened. I responded to Juno's attack with a strong, quick move, but Juno quickly blocked it and threw me to the floor. I clenched my teeth and cursed quietly under my breath. Damn it. You're almost there, Blitz. Just a little more and then you can beat me. Juno, not even out of breath, stood over me with her arms folded around her waist and a smile on her helmet. Compared to her, I looked like I just ran a marathon. I replied grumpily, I've been almost there for half a year. Oh, you're beautiful. Juno held out her hand to help me out, but through my frustration, I ignored her and got to my feet myself. Oh, come on, man. That's fucked up. No, seriously, you're doing much better already. You're making significant progress. Your body looks much more toned now. Yeah, and you still beat me like you're fighting an amateur. Juno laughed, which only made me angrier, but I tried to contain my irritation. Well, you shouldn't compare us in terms of strength. That's what I was saying. I was genetically engineered to be incredibly strong. The fact that you can stand your ground in a fight with me for longer than a minute is already a remarkable achievement. Words are not helpful at all, Juno. In fact, the opposite fact made me feel worse. Juno heard the irritation in my voice. A sad, confused expression appeared on her face. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I shook my head hastily, like feeling irritation quickly being replaced by guilt at my little outburst. It's nothing. Forget about it. I'm just worried that I'm not making enough progress. Thank you for helping me. I wouldn't have gotten this far without you. A smile reappeared on Juno's helmet. It's okay, Blitz. You know I'm always happy to help you. You shouldn't worry about your progress. You're doing really good. Come on, I'll have Pixie heat up some food for you. I finally brushed off the unpleasant irritation forming somewhere in my stomach and followed Juno out of the training room. By the way, how long have you been up? I fell asleep and woke up without you. I spent a lot of time messing with the coordinates for the autopilot, but I managed to get a good night's sleep anyway. And I also have some good news. I'll tell you everything over breakfast. Juno smiled again. I did my best to return the smile, strained as it was. When we got into the kitchen, I sat down at the table and Juno put a container of warm food on the table in front of me. In the nearly 2 years I'd been on the ship, I'd had enough time to adapt to what Juno cooked on the ship. At first my body had rejected her cooking, but now I ate it all without much trouble. While I ate breakfast, Juno sat across from me, running her fingers through the clipboard in her hand. So, what's the news? I've made significant progress in tracking down the next planet. I think we can get there within the next few days. We just need to make some preparations. And the most important thing is that the anomaly is in the early stage, so we'll have enough time to research it and find its cause. I frowned. Wait, what? You found it? We don't have time for preparations. We have to... I know, Blitz, but we really need to make a stop. I'm contacting my little sister. She's on planet UQ222XJ right now. It's not far from us. And she has agreed to help with some equipment. After that, we'll head straight to the next planet. Wait. You have a sister? You never mentioned that. I thought you didn't have anyone at all. A smile appeared on her helmet. Yeah, but how should I say it? We're not actual sisters. We're both created artificially. But we do have the same creator, and we were born in the same batch together, so with other siblings. Xena was the closest person to me. Our relationship could really be described as that of two sisters. She's extremely competent, if anything technical or engineer related. She is 100% the go-to person for such matters. You're sure to like her once you get to know her. Xena can certainly be a little strange at times, or rather, she is a rather specific personality, but you'll get used to her quickly. What do you mean by specific? Well, She's very sweet and kind, never leaves you in trouble. But she's also a little, I don't like that look, Juno. Vulgar. Oh, yes! I don't know how to explain it to you, but you'll see for yourself. We'll get to her in a couple days. I nodded through Juno's explanation, though Juno's explanation puzzled me. She like you? Well, she's a protogen like me. She was created a couple days later than me. That's why she's the younger sister. But she gets mad every time when I mention that. Juno laughed. It was obvious that Xena was important to her. Or Xena, I don't know. Xena, warrior princess. Cue the trailer. And because of that, I felt the need to make a good impression. What if we're too late because of this and the anomaly destroys the planet we found? Don't worry, we have time. Just trust me, okay? I've got it all figured out. We have enough time for everything. I just sighed. All I could do was trust her. And I trusted Juno completely, no matter what. Even if I was being a salty bastard. However, I couldn't ignore the uncomfortable possibility that in just a few days we might arrive to nothing more than ruins and the same fate of my own planet. It was an uneasy thought. Okay, I'm sure you know what you're talking about. Juno answered me again with a smile. I finished my breakfast and got up from the table, intending to return to the gym. Even though I couldn't work out properly with a full stomach, I still wanted to do something useful, even if it was just some simple strength training. Where are you going? I thought we could play something together. You almost beat me last time. I'll do it later, okay? I want to practice a little more. Start without me for now. I'll join you when I'm done. A sly smile quickly appeared on her helmet as she responded. Okay, but hurry up, because I wanted to play something else with you after our main gaming session. You know, our favorite game. She winked at me as responding to a slightly embarrassed smile. I was well aware that Juno was referring to playing with the VR helmets now, which is what we usually did when we had free time. As it turned out, there was a lot of free time in space. I still found it hard to imagine Juno traveling alone for so long before she met me. All she could do was talk to Pixie and play games to pass the time, all alone in a huge metal box drifting at incredible speed through the endless space. The mere thought of what would it be like to be alone on the ship, even for a few days, terrified. Not only because I still hadn't the faintest clue of how to keep the ship running, but also because being alone here would be unbearable for me. Ding dong, ding-a-ling dong. Now, again, like normal, I'm not going to make these as long as Changeling Tale because of the fact that it's not Changeling Tale. It's My Furry Protogen 2. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of My Furry Protogen. Don't know if you heard any of that rant or if I cut it out. I probably cut it out because I'm that much of a badass. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of My Furry Protogen 2. Be prepared for some more of this. And then, of course, Patreon's going to be getting some more videos because this is the uncensored version of the game, so there will be Patreon-only videos that come from this. So, I'm sorry about that, but YouTube is really stickler about adult content anyway, and I'm just going to have to cut those, put the Patreon thing on there if you guys want to see the uncensored version of anything that comes from this. You'll have to go check out the Patreon. It's only $2 a month. It's not very much. You get access to all the videos that are not safe for YouTube and stuff like that. I just recently dropped a video on Patreon after freaking forever. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, see you in the next one. Hey, and peace. Watch out.